My goal is to give you a step-by-step guide on how to do the same so you don't end up with a similar fate. Have you ever lost important data like files or pictures that you just really wish you could have back? Well, I have, and today I want to show you how to use an old Mac to connect the hard drive and just automatically download and back up all of that stuff to that drive, and then you can make copies later if you want. One time when I was younger, I was taking a break from working on papers for school, and I had a lot of work in those papers. I had a lot done, and I was watching something on my computer, and the tower literally went up in smoke. I mean, I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden, I hear this noise, and I smell smoke, and I look over, and it wasn't on fire, but there was smoke coming out of it. Later, I opened it up, and some of the capacitors on the motherboard had blown. So, unfortunately, I didn't have all my files backed up that were on that hard drive, and the hard drive was fried too. So, unfortunately, I lost out on all that work that I had. I spoke to one lady once who had her kids' graduation and prom and all kinds of photos on that computer, and unfortunately, the stuff wasn't backed up, and her drive just started clicking and making noise. And I told her, unfortunately, there isn't going to be an easy way to retrieve those files. There are services that will do it, but they're not exactly cheap. Today, I want to show you how I use this old Mac that I ordered for cheap, as well as an external hard drive hooked up to it, to back up all of my files and photos automatically without me having to worry about a thing. My goal is to give you a step-by-step guide on how to do the same so you don't end up with a similar fate. This is not my main computer. This was bought intentionally, specifically as a dedicated backup machine. The reason I chose a Mac for this project is because not only did I want to be able to download my OneDrive and Google files and any other cloud files for that matter, but I also wanted to be able to download my iCloud photos and videos and files. And it seems to me, in my experience, that the way they do it on a Mac has been much more robust and reliable than the iCloud for Windows client. There's not really a whole lot that goes into hooking this thing up physically. First of all, you have an external hard drive, and it has a power cord that has to be plugged into the wall, a power strip, a UPS, whatever, to get power. Then you have a USB cord. One end plugs into the back of the drive, the other end plugs into the back of the computer into a standard USB type A plug, right? And the same with the keyboard and mouse. It's just standard USB. And there is a power cord on the back of the computer that obviously has to plug into the wall, power strip, UPS, whatever. That's it. That is the physical connections that you have to do. Really not much. Once you have the computer physically hooked up, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to install macOS just like you would on any other Mac. I won't go through the whole thing because there's tons of videos out there about that already, and it's pretty straightforward, really. So you're just going to hit the power button, and it's going to walk you through the whole process. It's going to ask you to sign into your iCloud account. If you don't have one, you create one. It's free, no big deal. It's going to ask you for things like your language. It's going to ask you for things like if you want certain accessibility features turned on or off, things like that. You walk through the whole process, and once you do that, then the next step is going to be to format the external drive. The reason we want to format the external drive is because usually external drives don't come with a file format already on there that is optimized for Mac. Usually it's going to be optimized for Windows. So all we have to do is use the disk utility and tell it to format it. And I'll show you how to do that right now. So let's go through the process of how to format an external drive on an old Mac. First of all, it's going to be Command plus space. So you're going to hold down Command and then hit space. If they give you a Windows keyboard like they did with me, it's Windows key plus space. That's going to bring up your Spotlight search. And we're just going to type in disk utility and hit enter. It'll take a minute and then it'll come up. Once you're inside of the disk utility, you want to make sure that the top line is highlighted for your external drive, not the bottom. So you're not going to click down here. You're going to click up here for the top line of your external drive. Then you're going to go up here and click on erase. Once you click on erase, this is the box that's going to pop up. And for format, you're going to want macOS Extended Journal. And for scheme, you want the GUID partition map. And then you just click on erase. I'm not going to do it because I've already got stuff on my drive that I've been downloading, so I don't want to erase it, but that's how you do it. And then it's going to have a bar that's going to go across and it'll let you know when it's done. So I am going to cancel out of this. And then close this. All right, now that we have the drive formatted, if you want, you can do what I did, and that is create a folder for whatever it is that you are downloading to go. And so for me, I'm downloading my iCloud photos and videos right now. And so I created a folder just called iCloud Photos, I believe it was. But in order to do that, we're just going to double click on our drive and Finder opens up. And you can see I've already got files here, so I'm not going to actually create one right now. But you just right click somewhere in the open space and the top option is to create a new one. And so that's all you would have to do. Call it whatever you want. And then we are going to go to the next step. All right, our next step is going to be to just basically tell the computer where you want it to store your photos and videos. So in order to do that, we are going to click on Finder, which is this like face looking thing down here. And by default, your photos library is going to be in your pictures folder. We're going to double click on that. The file that you're looking to copy over is probably going to look something like this. And then if it's not open already, you would want to open up your drive and select whatever folder you want it to be in. And you would just literally just drag it over from one to the other and drop it into this folder. Now, once you do that, there is another step. I'll close these out and we will take care of that right now. All right, once you have your iCloud Photos library moved over from the internal drive to the external drive, now what we have to do is open up Photos and basically tell the Photos app where those are going to be at. So I clicked on Photos. It's an older Mac, so it's taken a minute for it to come up. All right, once your Photos app loads, now what you want to do is go up to Photos and click on Preferences. I'm going to zoom in so you can see this better. But essentially, now you want to make sure the top one is selected. So you have iCloud checked, right? And now iCloud Photos checked. And then you also want to have this one checked, where it's download originals to this Mac. If you choose the other one, you're only going to have lower resolution ones living on this Mac, and the full ones are going to be up on iCloud, and if you delete them, you'll lose those full resolution photos and videos. So you don't want to do that. You want to have the top one selected. Sorry about the interruption. The scam callers are really trying today. But anyway, the next thing is going to be to click on our General tab, and we're going to click on Show in Finder, and you're going to have a Finder window open up over here, right? And so mine is already properly set, so I don't need to change anything. But if it wasn't, what I would do is I would click around in here until I found the right file, right? And then I would go back to here, and this button wouldn't be grayed out any longer to use that as your photos library for your system. And that's it. You close this thing out and you are good. All right. Now that we have all that set up, here's what's going to happen. Your iCloud photos and videos are just going to automatically download to your external drive. You don't have to worry about a thing. It'll tell you in the bottom of the Photos app, because it already knows that that's where your photos are, that this is how many you have left. Mine has been going for quite a while now, for days, and it's finally almost getting done. The next thing that I'm personally probably going to do is going to be to probably create a separate folder called like archive and a date or something. And so then I've got a copy of everything. And then I will probably copy that folder onto another drive just so I have another copy. And it's best to have copies in a couple different locations. But then what you're able to do is just start deleting stuff that you don't need immediate access to. Stuff that you're okay, like saying, well, I want to be able to go and access these files or photos or whatever, but I don't need it taking up space on my iCloud. I'm okay with going home and getting the external drive. There's a couple benefits to utilizing an external drive over an internal drive. First of all, with Macs in particular, the drives usually aren't all that big, and if you want to just buy an internal drive directly from Apple, it's usually going to be pretty expensive to upgrade. So not only is the external drive going to be cheaper and bigger, hold more stuff, but it's also going to have the extra benefit of me being able to unplug it and take it to another computer and be able to plug it in and utilize those files on that computer. My plan ultimately is to be able to delete files off of OneDrive and iCloud and other services. So number one, I'm in control of those files, and number two, I don't have to pay monthly fees for them. Let me know if there's anything that I missed, maybe a better way to do this or something to add to this process to make it even better. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Oh shoot, what did I do? What did I do?